welcome to Good Deeds. I'm your host, Keith Erickson, and our guest today, of course, is Norfolk County Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell. Of course, Bill, always a pleasure to have you here on the set of BCAM here at Braintree High School.
You know, Keith, thanks for having me. It's great being in Braintree, and always appreciate BCAM. They get great community programming out there, and get some information about the registry and what's going on there.
Well, I know we're going to evergreen this show, maybe just a little bit, but you went to the Red Sox-Yankees playoff one game there, didn't you? That was fun.
Last night, that's why last night was great. It was a great excitement, and they won. So that's even more important.
There you go.
Great Red Sox-Yankees, great atmosphere at the game. So.
All right, more importantly, hey, let's talk about the Registry of Deeds, all right?
Not as exciting as the Red Sox-Yankees game.
No, probably not.
But we'll get into it.
If you're a Red Sox fan, you're going to stick with us here for a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about first, go with the stuff that people need to know. Where is it? And the website and all that stuff. We'll get that right out of the chute.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Registry of Deeds, it's located in downtown Dedham, 649 High Street. It's been located in Dedham since 1793 when the county was started. So the Registry of Deeds deals with community land records. So if you've recorded your deed, you maybe have a mortgage, you want to check to see if it's been paid off, you might want to record a homestead, it all gets done at 649 High Street. And you can either come by and record the documents. A lot of people, if you come by, we have a customer service center, 781-461-6101, that you can call up if you have questions. But you can go on our website, and it's an information tool. It's at www.norfolkdeeds.org. A lot of good information for first-time buyers. And also there's a research component. We mentioned we've been around since 1793, and we deliver services a little different than we did then, but all the records back to 1793 are indexed and available for viewing from your home. So we've tried to bring the registry's records into people's homes and businesses. They can go on the website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, and you can look up the information, and it goes all the way back to 1793. In fact, if you enter Book 1, Page 1, the first deed is available for viewing. You can look at it. But then we had a project, History Comes Alive. We've transcribed all the written documents because from 1793 to 1900, over 450,000 documents were handwritten by the scriveners back in the day. We have typed out, so you can view the actual document, which is written, and then the typed out version. And in some of those documents, we have 4 presidents born in Norfolk County. There are deeds from the 2nd President of the United States to the 6th President of the United States, the Adamses. Awesome. So lots of good information, lots of history. But what I was going to talk about a little bit is the statistics. People are interested in statistics. Maybe it's the baseball theme of last night. But what I wanted to say, because of technology at the registry and because of a great team of employees, whether they're management, whether they're staff, union or non-union, the Registry of Deeds, people kind of forget, we're still in a pandemic, but at the height of the pandemic, the Registry of Deeds stayed open, stayed operational. We didn't miss a day. And fiscal 21, which was from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, really the height of the pandemic, the Registry of Deeds in Norfolk, over $81 million. Most of which goes to the state. It gets used, the state monies get used for local aid, get used for public safety, education, social service programs, but some money stays in the county, at the county offices. And some of the monies, like the CPA monies, which are collected, and that's the Community Preservation Act money. 19 out of 28 communities in Norfolk County have passed that. So the monies get collected, go to the state, and eventually get back to the community. So lots of activity, and the registry workers did a great job, and the registry technology kept us open, and I think that's important. And we've kind of seen a slight drop-off. We're bringing statistics from now, July 1st to September 30th of this year. It's the first quarter, and there's been a slight drop-off in statistics. For instance, the total documents recorded in 2020 in the first quarter were 49,846 countywide, and it dropped off to 48,341. That's a 1,505 decrease, or 6%. A 3%, I'm sorry, 3%. there was a little bit of a document volume decrease in Braintree, but only 76 documents. So Braintree's holding their own as far as this slight drop in overall statistics. And a big part of that was mortgages. There's less and less mortgages being recorded, and countywide it went down from 12,900 in 2020, again July 1st to June 30th, to 10,869, and that's a 16% drop off. And in Braintree, there were 727 mortgages recorded, 550 this quarter, and that's a drop of 24%. So again, you can see a drop of mortgages. We see a slight drop in overall documents. The good news is the deeds are up. When you look at overall deeds, and that deeds are documents where there are sales, whether it's a commercial, residential, someone's buying, someone's selling, and deeds get recorded at the registry. The first quarter, it's up 10% in Norfolk County and 20% in Braintree. So that's good news. Sales are chugging along, and that's good news. There's been a slight decrease. Some bad news, however, is there's been an increase in foreclosure deeds and in foreclosure notices. Foreclosure deeds, it doesn't seem like much, but there was 18 of them, which is an increase from first quarter 2020 to first quarter 2021. And notices, which is the kind of the first step in the process. A lender files a notice saying, hey, this person's in trouble, we're going to start foreclosing. There were 30 notices, and last year there were only at the same time one. So if you find yourself in that position, and there have been some filed in Braintree, no community is exempt from it. We have partnered up at the registry with Neighbor Works Housing Solutions and Quincy Community Action Programs, and it may have the name Quincy in it, but they've committed to help everyone, whether you're from Bellingham down at one end of the county to Brookline to Braintree. So reach out to the groups. And if you go to our website, which we previously mentioned, we have links to those, again, nonprofit groups. So they're going to give you some advice. They're going to give you some counseling. So if you're in trouble, go to them. We also have connections and links to the Attorney General's office, which also has resources available for anyone who may be struggling with not paying their mortgage or having a notice or dealing with a foreclosure process.
We're talking with Bill O'Donnell here on Good Deeds. Thank you much for joining us this afternoon. And Bill, what does it mean, I guess, all the numbers that you just went through? Give us a feel of what you think it means and maybe a little prognosis into the future.
My sense is, especially talking to brokers, talking to people that lend money, whether they're bankers or mortgage companies, and just getting a sense, talking to attorneys who get involved in this process, it does seem to be dropping off. Sales seem strong, but anecdotally you hear it's not that crazy. There's 10 people out been driving up prices. Prices are still up, which is one of the reasons all those collections are up. It's driven with transaction fees, but it's also driven by deeds excise, which is a reflection of the prices of the sale. So it appears that sales are still strong, but maybe not as crazy strong as it was before. I think in communities, Braintree's a great, well-run community. People want to live in Braintree. I'm from Norwood. That's that. People that grow up in Norwood want to stay in Norwood. People who grow up in Braintree want to stay in Braintree. So I think there's still demand. I still think there's limited inventory in these towns. So that means sales prices anyway will probably stay where they are, but that frenetic activity of is seen on sales seems to be going down, and mortgages are going down. The rates are still competitive. They may be going up, but you talk to lenders and they say, look, if you haven't refinanced by now because the rates are so low, that chances are, the people that wanted to refinance, which is why mortgages would have been up, have already done so. So it seems to be just lessening, and we're going to start moving into the traditional slow months, at least the traditional ones where, come December, January, February into March, it was always kind of slower on the volume anyway.
Talk to us a little bit about the when you were up testifying mortgage assignment, and talk to us a little bit about your role in the mortgage assignment, and can you give people an idea of what that's all about?
Well, there is legislation up at the State House, and a number of people, a number of the Norfolk County legislators have signed on to the legislation, and it really came about because of consumers. You go out to office hours or you speak to community groups, and people would say, I don't know who's holding my mortgage. Or, hey, I paid off my mortgage years ago and they say I need a discharge, and I thought this company had the mortgage, but they say they don't, and I have to go track it down. So legislation was filed only for residential mortgages. Okay. And the legislation basically says when there's a mortgage and it's been assigned to another entity, record the assignment at the Registry of Deeds. And why do we do that? Well, I believe in transparency, and I think it helps the consumer so that you can just go online and look it up. If these entities are failing to notify people, they never notify you about where to send the check. What happens is when people need a discharge, for instance, and we just collect the money. We're not the entity that pays off, that signs the discharge. So this legislation, and again, it's Senate Bill 1060 and House Bill 1576, basically say that if a mortgage is recorded and it gets assigned in the various ways by entities, that those assignments get recorded at the registry. It's opposed. It's been opposed, and I got to thank Senator John Keenan as one of the sponsors. He represents Braintree. So we testified on it, and last year there was progress. We got it reported favorably out of the Judiciary Committee, but it stopped. It's a new legislative session. So contact your local legislators and say, hey, could Senate Bill 1060 and House Bill 1576 get reported out favorably out of the committee? I had the privilege of giving testimony on the bills this summer. So the State House is even in COVID is working up there, the legislative process, and it would be great if the Judiciary Committee reported it out, because not only is it good for the consumer, if you have registered land, and 20% of Norfolk County is registered land, you have to do this anyway. So the lenders must do it on that side of the registry. Why not do it for all the consumers? So make it 100% of the land statewide. This is just for Norfolk County. When there's assignment, it gets recorded. That way, people get to know who's holding their mortgage. And I know there was a big article in the Boston Globe where it cost the consumers a lot of money trying to track down all this.
Tell us a little bit more, too. You guys deal with so many transactions, and we're talking with Bill O'Donnell here on Good Deeds. I'm your host, Keith Erickson. Let's talk a little bit about how many transactions you guys have to deal with electronically every single, day, week, year, and where that situation is at the Registry of Deeds right now, and if you could elaborate on that, because there seems to be a little bit of a situation going on down there, shall we say?
Well, we sleepy Registry of Deeds, it's an arm of government no one knows about, which was why I appreciate these shows, because it really deals with the biggest asset most of us have is our homes, and sure. BCAM gets the information out, and hopefully people, can think about what it means to their properties. You mentioned technology, everything we just talked about, and we've had a lot of modernization initiatives. It's all driven by technology, and I've been fortunate enough, I've been at the registry since 2002. When we started back then, there was they called it, the previous administrations called it Director of Data Processing, but you could see changes were coming. There was the internet.
The internet. Yeah, no, the funniest thing, right?
Well, yeah. The registry when didn't have emails, there. So we transition to a registry chief information officer. And at the registry, we don't have a department of 100 people running a technology department. We have a registry chief information officer and an IT technical assistance administrator, a two-person technology department. Well, all the stuff we're talking about, and I've had great chief information officers. I've had two in my tenure, and one of them just retired. Well, all these initiatives, we can come up with ideas how better to deliver services, and I think that's why I was elected and tasked. We've modernized the registry. You mentioned electronic recording. There was no electronic recording. No one even thought about it. It hadn't even thought about it at the federal and state levels. Then they passed legislation. And what is electronic recording? It means a closing can take place in an attorney's office here in Braintree, and they can transmit the documents over the internet and have it recorded. So, they take the virtual trip to 649 High Street, the registry, as opposed to back in 1793 bringing the horse and buggy up and dropping the papers off. Right. Now, some people still drop the papers off. So electronic recording has grown. It was 50% on the recorded land side. It's now almost 80%, 85%. We had to get legislation through, and again, I thank the local legislators, to also do electronic recording on the land court side. That legislation passed in 2017. Well, when we started that, it was like 15%. Now that's up to about 75%. Well, that's technology. The fact that people can look at our website and get this information, that's technology. The assessors here in Braintree every month get our records from Braintree so they can assess and the tax rate and all that. We collect monies for CPA, the Community Preservation Act, which, it gets used locally. Mm-hmm. So a lot of technology. Why do we say that? Because, the last time we were on, there was a vote 2-1 by 2 county commissioners, because it's a county structure, not to replace the Registry Chief Information Officer, who's been an existing and still is funded position at the Registry. It was a 2-1 vote. Well, since that time, I thought it was an unsound vote then. I said it, and I still do. And people say, oh, you shouldn't say things like that. Well, when I see the Registry getting torn down, I'm not doing it because the Registry's getting torn down solely. I'm doing it because people rely on it for their property records. Businesses rely on it for title. You're selling businesses. Look at all the communities and all the interest groups that, like brokers and contractors, that depend on the Registry and what gets done there. So you're doing something that's going to affect all this. And since we were here last, we had to file a lawsuit. And because of the lawsuit, we did not have a chief information officer. Because of the lawsuit, the commissioners have allowed a temporary Registry Chief Information Officer. Now, anyone that runs a business, and I try to run a government agency like a business, knows it's not all that easy to attract and retain people when something's temporary. So that's one issue. And the other thing is, we were 6 weeks without a person because there were benefit issues and things with temporary. And a person's not taking a job without benefits, So just an unsound decision. So I don't mind if the county commissioners want to build up their little department, but don't tear down the Registry of Deeds. And that's where we're at, because it's not over, because my position is that we've had this position for 20 years, and I know things change. Well, look at the Registry. We've modernized. We run a modern. We're not one of these archaic county structures. We've been modern. We've been modernized. But we need an on-site, permanent Registry Chief Information Officer that works with the Register on strategy, on initiatives, works with the Registry staff in the day-to-day operations. More importantly, works with the stakeholders and the Registry users. I know the Registry Chief Information Officer works with the assessing departments and getting the documents out, and of course the general public. So not only do I need the Registry Chief Information Officer, as I have had it for 20 years, I need the Registry IT Technology Department. We've had one. The county may not have had one years ago, but we have one, and we've had one. So if you want, I'm a big believer in building things up. I don't build up things. Don't tear down the Registry. And why should people care? Well, if you own a home, you might want to care, because the title to your property could be affected. Because 205,000 documents just in 1 year got affected. What about cybersecurity risks? What about what's going on in the real world? Don't people think about what's going on in the real world?
Like 80 million or 81 million?
We collect $81 million. And right now, and I've put it on the line, what's the steps in this era of cybersecurity and in this era of ransomware? It is reckless and a bad policy not to have a Registry IT department that is on site dealing with these things all the time. Absolutely reckless and a bad policy. And again, it was a 2-to-1 vote. One of the county commissioners on that vote on June 30th said it was a dereliction of duty not to do it. That was a county commissioner's words, not mine. But I concur with that opinion.
Sure. Well, we'll continue to monitor that situation for sure.
Unfortunately, I think it's,
Right.
the battle goes on,
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Registry would be like the Red Sox. We got to win on it.
Winning, baby. Just keep on
they could
winning.
be the Yankees.
Right. Well, we are here with Bill O'Donnell. He is the Register of Deeds down there in Dedham. And my name is Keith Erickson. Thanks so much for joining us here. We are inside the studios here at Braintree High School. Bill, are there any other numbers you want to share with us? That I know you have the Bill Belichick playbook over there, numbers over there. Are there any more numbers you got over there that you want to share with the people?
It didn't work out too well for him the other night against Brady either. But, there are stories behind numbers. For instance, homesteads. Homesteads are part of, it's in the legislation. So if you own a home, make sure you have a homestead recorded. When I say a home, it could be a condominium. You have a right in Massachusetts to declare an estate a homestead, which gives you certain protections. You have to pay your mortgage, or have to pay the tax bill here in Braintree. They can take your property by tax, title, or foreclosure. But there are other troubles you might get into. They cannot force the sale of your house if you have a homestead recorded. So you could go on our website. We have information on the homestead. We have forms. But I would strongly recommend that. That's a statistic here that we have all the time. And BCAM's been great about getting the word out, because it's a good consumer protection, and it's written in the statute for a reason. And it not only protects against the forced sale of a home, but there's other hidden protections. For instance, it protects, if you're selling your home, it protects the proceeds of the sale for a limited period of time, 1 year, so that creditors can't come in and swoop the proceeds. Or if your house burnt down and the insurance company wrote you a check to rebuild, if you have a homestead recorded and you have some financial issues, creditors can't come in and swoop to get the proceeds of that insurance check, again for a limited period of time, 2 years. So, there are statistics, but there are a lot of things at the registry. There are stories behind the statistics.
It doesn't cost very much to get a homestead, right?
One of the few filing fees that they've kept reasonable. It's $35, and it's well worth doing. And you may never need it.
Right. And this is for anybody. This is for new homeowners. This is for people who've owned a home for 10, 15 years, right?
Yes, and again, thank you, local legislators. There used to be a statute. Before there was a statute, when you refinanced, and I know you have children, I have children, people going to college, we have many reasons we refinance. I would refinance. It would kill my homestead, because there was a clause in the no one reads the 30 pages of mortgage things. It would kill my homestead, so I put another one on. Thank you, local legislators, because they said if there's language in there, your homestead isn't killed. Now, the effective date of that was on March 16, 2011. So if you refinanced before that and you put a homestead on and you think your homestead's good, you might want to take a look and just err on the side of caution. But if they have language like that now, you put a homestead on and you refinanced tomorrow and it had that language, the legislation, thank you local legislators, say just because that language is in there, it does not kill your homestead. So again, another good thing for the consumers, and hopefully, like we talked about, the mortgage assignment bills, is another good thing for the consumers, and we get that passed too.
We got a lot of good things to get to. We have a few minutes left. Talk a little bit about discharge of mortgage, if you could.
We touched upon that. People, you don't know what you need until you need it. And a lot of times, we've all borrowed money. There's mortgages. We just talked about it. Well, when you pay it off, a discharge is supposed to get recorded at the registry. It's a 1 or 2 page document. Again, the Registrars Association, I belong to that, worked with prior attorney generals, and there was actually a lawsuit because a lot of banks weren't getting the discharges, and they're doing a better job now of getting it to the registry, or doing a better job of when they send it to the consumer, making it clear to the consumer, hey, you got to get this document to the registry. So, and again, the beauty is you can go online and check to see if your discharge is recorded, or call up our customer service department at 781-461-6101, because you just want to make sure if you paid that mortgage off, you want a discharge that shows the world that it's been paid off. And also, sometimes people have equity lines. and you never use it. You think, oh, well, what's the big deal? I didn't use it. It's gone. Well, now you're doing a closing, you're selling your house, and they say, oh, you have this equity line. Where's the discharge? And now we're back to the mortgages. You know, you got to chase.
Chase it down.
And you know what? You got great community banking here.
Yeah.
You know, great community banks all around the county. You go to them, you get good customer service. Hey, I'm a customer. I had a mortgage. They'll look it up. They'll get you the discharge pretty quickly. It's just a lot of these bigger banks. Sometimes they don't follow the same practices or rules like the local community banks, and the discharges are kind of tough to get. So,
all right. Well, talk to us a little bit about the Registry of Deeds community involvement, if you could. I know you just brought it up pre-show, so I want you to tell the story.
Well, on the suit, yeah, because with COVID, we really weren't collecting suits. We were just trying to stay operational.
Sure.
All of a sudden, we've had a lot of suit deliveries. There was a local attorney in Dedham, beautiful suits, shoes, everything. Sneakers. He's relocating to Florida, and so that's on our Suits for Success program, and that's just one community outreach program we do. And we just, we've been not just suits. We have them dropped off to the registry. Some people, there was a need for women clothing. There's just a need for sometimes a nice casual clothing, belts, pocketbooks. We collect that items. And what we do, recently we had Man at Health, which is out of Quincy. They sent people over to, they have people that need this. And so it's a good program. Some people just want to clean out their house for whatever reason. And again, it can't be, it has to be decent. And it started because people were in need of interviewed clothes. But we have a group, Inner City Weightlifting. They come out of Dorchester and Quincy. They have people, they use weight training to try to battle some of the things going on in inner cities, and they just need clothing. Some people just don't have not a suit coat, but just basic, nice casual, decent clothing, a nice sport jacket or a sport thing, or shoes. So we have a lot of groups that take advantage of it. The Veterans Administration down in Jamaica Plain, Father Bill's Place, and the Interfaith Social Services out of Quincy. But as I said, recently Man at Health. We've been trying to expand, and Circle of Hope in Needham collects these items as well. So we just try to be a point of reference, and then we get it out to whether it's the veterans that served our country or people struggling in the inner city with different issues, or just people that need clothes for an interview.
Right.
That's how it started, the Suits for Success program, but it's kind of expanded.
That's awesome. Bill, just talk to us a little. We got about 30 seconds left, if you could. Website and phone number one more time for the people that really want to get in touch with those people down at the Registry of Deeds.
Sure. The Registry of Deeds, it's 649 High Street in Dedham. We have a customer service department. You can call at 781-461-6101. Our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org. And if you want to email me, registerodonnell@norfolkdeeds.org.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and thank you, BCAM. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Appreciate it. And that was Bill O'Donnell, Registry of Deeds, and you've been watching Good Deeds. Until next time, I'm Keith Erickson.